the Warrenton Board of Alderman meeting for Tuesday, June 16, 2020. First part of the meeting, I guess I would like to still invite you if you'd like to join by Zoom. It'll be the meeting ID would be 956-274-8536. To participate by conference call, please call into 312-626-6799 with meeting ID number 956-274-8536. There is also an open forum during this meeting on the public, or the public is invited to submit written comments via email to mrugh@warrenton-mo.org. With that, we'll open up with public hearings.
Good evening, Mayor and Board of Aldermen. For your consideration tonight for the first hearing, we ask for the review of conditional use PUD application for Orange Blossom Estates located at 2007 North Highway 47. I ask that the ordinance of the City of Warrenton be made part of the record by reference, the comprehensive plan of the City of Warrenton be made part of the record by reference, the package shown as PUD 67 on the agenda be made part of the record by reference, which includes the publication notice for tonight's public hearing that was posted in the Warren County Record.
Will all be duly noted.
For the second hearing,
If there's anybody who'd like to speak just on the Orange Blossom Estates PUD-67, please come to the front podium. State your name. We'll give you 5 minutes to speak. Not see anybody. We'll move on.
For the second hearing, we ask for your consideration of a zone change request for the property located at the North Service Road and Highway AA, currently zoned M1. I ask that the ordinance of the City of Warrenton be made part of the record by reference, the comprehensive plan of the City of Warrenton be made part of the record by reference, and finally the package shown as EC-61 on the agenda be made part of the record by reference, which includes the publication notice of tonight's public hearing that was posted in the Warren County Record.
All be duly noted. Thank you. If anybody would like to come up to the podium and speak on Creekside Apartments, ZC61 and only, Creekside Apartments ZC61, please come to the podium, state your name, we'll give you 5 minutes to speak. Not seeing anybody, we'll move on.
Alright, for the third and final hearing, we ask for the review of a conditional use permit PUD for Creekside Apartments to be located at the North Service Road and Highway AA. I ask that the ordinance of the City of Warrenton be made part of the record by reference, the comprehensive plan of the City of Warrenton be made part of the record by reference, and finally the package shown as PUD 68 on the agenda be made part of the record by reference, which includes the publication notice of tonight's public hearing, which was posted in the Warren County Record.
Will all be duly noted. If anybody would like to step to the podium and speak on Creekside Apartments PUD 68 and only Creekside Apartments PUD 68, please come to the podium and state your name. We'll give you 5 minutes to speak. Not seeing anyone, we will go ahead and close out the public hearing section of the Warrenton Board of Aldermen meeting and open up the regular meeting. Before we say the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd just like to thank everybody for coming in, since it's our first meeting since the COVID-19 hit. I appreciate the participation of coming in. If you would, please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda would be the consent agenda.
We have the regular meeting minutes from June 2nd, 2020, and the budget work session minutes from June 9th, 2020.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Deloy, seconded by Alderman Dyer. Roll call vote.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Next, we'll be hearing from the public. There again, if you have something you'd like to say or something you'd like to voice to us, please come to the podium. We'll give you 5 minutes to speak after you state your name. Not see anybody, we'll move on. Next will be Board of Alderman comments.
I have something I would like to say. I want to take this opportunity to gratefully acknowledge our police department and other law enforcement agencies, as well as the peaceful protesters that marched in our city last Wednesday evening. I think it is indicative of this type of city and community that we live in, that we show respect and kindness to others. I am proud to live in Warrenton. If you are a developer or you are someone just looking for to move into our city, I want you to know that we welcome you into an atmosphere that I believe you can expect to find kindness and respect. And I would also like residents to know that the city of Warrenton is funding the fireworks display this year at the Warrenton Fairgrounds. For many goers, this was kind of the culmination of Fair Week, and although our county fair has been canceled, like so many other activities that we have lost this summer, this event is still going to take place with cooperation of the city and the Warrenton Fair Board, and that, again, the city is funding this. So I'm very pleased that we're going to make a lot of people happy with being able to fund that. And Mike, I would like to offer a personal thank you to you for your outstanding service to the city and for all the help that you've given me this past year as my first year as an alderman. And welcome, Jack Crump. I really look forward to hearing you voice your opinions at board meetings about issues that our community is facing, and I'm looking forward to working with you, so welcome. I'm done.
Anyone else?
Here, I'd like to thank Brad Buzicruz, our grounds director, and his crew for a job well done on Dyer Park, preparing for the concert in the park. I had several comments from people said they'd done an excellent job.
I was going to ask Mike if he could give us some kind of overview of the concert.
Yes, I also wanted to thank Brad, Terry, Brandy, and all the crew. They did an excellent job out there getting the grounds prepared and everything. They had it mowed, they had it sectioned off. It's not. They had it sectioned off, and the people that were the public, I want to thank them too for cooperation. They did a good job of social distancing, and it was a well-received band. And they commented too on how well the grounds looked and how what a good crowd we had. It was one of the bigger crowds that we've had, I think, over the years that we've had them. I didn't really try to count. I would guess in the neighborhood of 200 people, so that's pretty good. So anyway, again, thanks to everybody for putting that together, and thank you, Cheryl.
Mike, do you want to talk about the...
Yeah,
also,
while we're on the subject of the concerts in the park,
Wright City is supposed to have one this coming Friday. We have not received any decision on whether they're going to hold it or not. I can't hold the bands hostage until the last minute, and then cancel them. So what I made an executive decision on the Arts Council, and again, this is the Arts Council, decision by Mike Shellharvey, not Alderman Mike Shellharvey. So I want that plainly stated. But we're going to move the concert in the park to Warrenton, since Brad's already got the circles out there for social distancing. I've checked with Terry, Brandy, and Brad, and I think all the board members were on board with doing it. So if we can get it out on Facebook, on our website, we'll do it on the Arts Council website, Facebook, and just word of mouth. Brad said he would put the signs back out. So this Friday, we will have another concert in the park here in Warrenton at Dyer Park. The band will be Shorty and the Two Toads. So, and they're very good. They were here several years ago and had a good crowd. So come on out and support the concerts in the park. So, and again, this is my last meeting.
And I said I wouldn't do this, but I want to thank Ward 1 people for electing me and putting their trust in me. I know everybody didn't always agree with my decisions, but I just want you to know I made them what I thought was for the best of the city of Warrenton. So, thank you all.
Thank you, Mike.
So for anyone who's new to Warrenton, this isn't the first time Mike served on the board. This is second, and probably sometimes a little more difficult than what it was in the past. I don't know. Talking to him in the past, some of those got a little rough on the meetings, but
Gary can vouch for that.
no matter what, Mike has said it, I've said it, numerous people on this board have said it. The board works good together, but everybody believes that for some reason we cohesively decide on things before the meeting. It's not true. Just because we're not up here screaming or yelling at each other doesn't mean we don't disagree. There's several times we disagree and we have to talk it out here. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we are lined up and agree. What I will say is Micah, I do appreciate it. We've talked all our issues out, and anytime we've had it, we've had to just kind of pan at it, and you taught me a lot coming up as the mayor, and I appreciate it. Guys, I wanted to cover that fireworks too a little bit. Alderman Dyer, you did a great job presenting that. I think one thing I did want to make a mention of is that I think we're ready to get back to a little bit of normalcy as a town, and I hope the fireworks is something that helps us get back there. I think that's why it was almost unanimous to say yes, we'll support the fireworks. And speaking with the board, the fair board, they would have the lot cleared and ready and presented for everybody to be able to come and be a part of. I think everybody is looking forward to that and ready for that. If you're not, I can tell you I am. But from most people that I've talked to throughout this town, I think everybody's ready just to see a little bit of sanity and normalcy and get out of the house. So the concerts in the park is a welcomed thing here, and when Mike suggested that, I was kind of excited about it, and I hate to say it, but Wright City's loss is our gain, and I'm ready for it. So no offense to them, we work well with them, but.
I have a second, Mayor.
Sure.
I also wanted to kind of follow up on Cheryl's comments regarding the marshals in town. And am I on or not?
No.
The other mic, I think, is picking me up by the speaker.
This one's hooked to the telephone. I have a red light on.
Not on your,
Gotta get rid of that light.
Guys, social distancing and doing this is a little different for us. We're trying to get used to it.
So I wanted to just take a second to also comment on the walk that was in town. I participated in that, and I thought that the law enforcement piece of that, the sheriff and the city staff did a good job in terms of what the officers were, very respectful. I was a little bit surprised when I went there because it felt almost like a family event. There was a number of women who had their kids in a stroller or wagon, and there was a lot of families there. So I thought that was really positive of the community. I thought the young men who led this, even though they were out from outside the community, I thought they were very respectful and did a decent job. So I couldn't be, like you, I couldn't be more proud of our community for the way that came off.
Though in speaking with the gentleman that organized it, he was actually born and raised in Wright City and moved away, but that's why his heart's for this area and wanted to be able to do that here. And I agree. Even though there was, I don't want to say hiccup, but there was a little taunting. He handled it very well by turning the group around and getting away from it before there was interaction or any type of problems. I thought that was pretty admirable. He kept to what he said he would do, is keep it peaceful. Any other comments?
Mayor, I think the attendance at the concert in the park is a testimony that people are anxious to get back to the normalcy you talked about a few minutes ago. So I was really, really happy with that.
I agree. I think the public majority agrees. With that, I'd like to go to the reappointment of Corey Tobias, Tanya Mirth, Nancy Shill Harvey to the Park Board for a 3-year term. I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
So moved.
second.
Mike, you should have made the last motion to get your wife on the park board.
Yeah,
One more. We still
keep her on the park board, she's already on there.
Motion made by Alderman Schultz, seconded by Alderman Dyer. Roll call vote.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey?
Yes.
Alderman Dyer?
Yes,
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Next will be the certification of election results.
I have before you the election results from the county clerk for the June 2nd, 2020 election.
Are there any questions on that? I'll entertain a motion to approve the certification of the election results from the June 2nd, 2020 election.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Shell Harvey, seconded by Alderman Miller. Roll call vote.
Alderman Shell Harvey?
Yes.
Alderman Dyer?
yes,
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. And you did get the last motion. And you did get the last motion. Yeah. So with that, I would like to present a plaque. Mike, do you mind coming down front with me? You do. With this plaque reads, City of Warrenton extends sincere appreciation to Mike Shill Harvey for serving as Alderman in Ward 1 from 2016 to 2020. Your genuine dedication and heartfelt service to the community have truly benefited the residents of our city. Sincerely, Mayor Eric Schluter, the Warrenton Board of Aldermen.
Mike.
thanks, Mike.
If we could have the oath of office for a newly elected official. Would you come down there with me?
You guys just want to stand there?
We can. We can.
gonna wait for the oath. I was gonna wait for the oath. Want him here?
If you don't mind. He can stand next to you, how about that? All right, if you guys would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I possess all of the qualifications
that I possess all the qualifications
for the position of Alderman
for the position of Alderman
of the City of Warrenton,
of the City of Warrenton,
as prescribed by law,
as prescribed by law,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Missouri,
and the state of Missouri,
the provisions of all laws
provisions of all laws
of this state
of this state
affecting this city,
affecting this city,
and the code of ordinances
and the code of ordinances
of the City of Warrenton,
of the City of Warrenton,
and I will faithfully demean myself in office.
and I will safely demean myself in office.
Congratulations.
Now it's official. Welcome aboard.
Aboard, Jack.
Alderman.
Aboard, Jack.
Trial by fire. Jump right in the middle of it.
Barrel.
So with that, we need election of a board president. I'll entertain any nominations.
I'd like to nominate Gary Miller.
Other nominations? All right, I will entertain a motion to nominate Gary Miller for board president.
So moved. Need a second?
Yes. Is that a second?
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Schultz, seconded by Alderman Deloy. Roll call vote.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Crump.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Welcome to board president. It's fun. A lot of signing, your hands will get cramped. Next item will be the request for exemption for loud music on July 4th by the Fair Board. Are you representing the Fair Board?
I am.
If you would, just come to the podium, state your name.
Howdy, esteemed board. Jack, congratulations. Thank you, Michael Shaw, wherever we went. My name is Lloyd Weidman. I'm the secretary for the Warren County Fair Board of the Warren County Fair Association, and we are requesting the exemption there on the noise. So hopefully we can get that permit and help with a little bit of the festivities that will be happening on July the 4th. Thank you for your support and the community's support with relation to us being one of the first in the state to cancel our county fair. It was the right move at the right time, and now I think we're on agreement that it's time to start getting some normalcy back, and we're looking forward to this opportunity working with you for the 4th of July.
I know it was a tough decision too. There was I was contacted by a couple Fair Board members. I think it was just really rough on them, but I knew what they were having to do, and it just, the timing was bad. But
So we appreciate any consideration on that permit, or however y'all vote on it there.
You're stopping it at 11:59?
Yes, sir. That way it wouldn't carry over into the next day. We could do a 18-hour party for you if you'd like.
Could you, I mean, it doesn't affect it. Could you tell us what you have planned for the day?
Right now, loosely, we're talking about doing just kind of a DJ, maybe some small band type stuff. Hard with scheduling at this short a time frame when things opening back up to get bands to come in and commit. But mostly just more of a social atmosphere in regard, and we'll be abiding by any of the city and state regulations that are issued out for social distancing. We don't want to create a Lake of the Ozarks situation.
but yet we also still don't want to be sitting on our thumbs the whole time. So as far as I understand it, we'll have some acoustic sets and then have a DJ and then possibly a band to kind of close out the night. Any other questions? Nope. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Lloyd. Entertain a motion to approve the request for exemption for loud music on July 4th by the Fair Board.
So moved.
Second.
Motion. Motion by Alderman Schultz, seconded by, we'll do Dyer.
The lady won out.
She did. Roll call vote.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Alderman Crump?
Yes.
Alderman Dyer?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Next would be discussion of outdoor tables and water increase. The rolling of the eyes tells it all.
Yes, it does.
Come on up if you would, state your name, and we'll just start the discussion.
Maria Bayer, Papa's Cuban Cafe, and I'm sure you all got copies of my email, at least I hope you did, about how I feel about that. But first of all, I do want to say that I am very grateful to you guys for allowing me to have one table, maybe two out there, okay? My issue with that is that I asked Neil, and he asked Terry, and apparently, even though I have permission, or I can get permission from the pawn shop guy to put tables up the road there, I'm not allowed to do that because it's not my property. Now, from a liability standpoint, as far as the city's concerned, you might say, okay, well, we're worried about our liability if somebody gets hurt, but checking with my insurance guy, which I could be happy to bring him in at the next meeting, all that falls on me, not the city. So I have issues with that because I feel like, number one, I'm doing it because my customers have requested, and number two, I think it would bring more life into Warrenton, more foot traffic, but, you know, that's up to you if you guys want to approve it or not. You know, I'm at the point that it's kind of like, if you do, great, because then you're doing it for the city and for the other businesses. You know, the same goes for where I wanted to have a barbecue out there. My building is combustible. I can't have it there. I get it. I can't have it in the parking lot. Okay, why, I don't know. But we can have, when we have the festivals, people are cooking in front of my building. So how is that okay? And me asking for all this stuff, not.
Before you go on, could we have legal counsel talk to us about sidewalk issues? Chris, you know, whose property is?
Absolutely. Yeah, and can everybody hear me, hopefully?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So as you guys will recall, we passed two resolutions in response to the COVID-19 pandemic to, essentially create the opportunity for the lost interior dining spaces for the restaurants in Warrenton to with the limitations and restrictions on the 25%, seating capacity when that came about. We immediately, on our own and at the direction of the mayor and the board of aldermen, we drafted these resolutions to basically allow spacing and social distancing out on the sidewalks and to also allow additional seating for the lost capacities that are inside the businesses. So when we started this process of drafting these resolutions, we started looking at various other cities, and really the purpose of these resolutions was an emergency to respond to the COVID-19 limitations on outdoor seating. It was not intended to address outdoor dining downtown, because once we started drafting it, we realized pretty quickly, wow, this could be really neat. And yeah, there's a lot of things we have to consider. So, if you guys will recall, when you guys approved this resolution, we specifically put in there that this is a emergency resolution to increase capacity for restaurants due to COVID-19 restrictions imposed by Warren County and by the state. But we are going to study this issue because, there's some pretty neat ideas that staff has come up with to try to, bring more people downtown and have more seating downtown. One of the things I'll point out that we learned very quickly when we drafted this is we really
really have to have considerations for all of downtown, and we have to have considerations for all types of businesses, including retail businesses downtown. So when this resolution was passed and put into effect, that was the purpose, and that's the purpose it's serving. What we are doing right now, and Terry can talk a little bit about this as well, is we are putting together some various plans and some ideas, and we're going to be meeting with the Warrenton Downtown Association, WDA, to discuss some of these ideas for how to bring seating as a permanent fixture within the city of Warrenton. So although these temporary restrictions will be in place, it has always been a concept that we've been working on and hoping to get feedback like, this small business owner from downtown saying, hey, there's an issue, I want to go in front of my neighbor's, property to have tables. There's a lot more considerations from a city perspective that we have to take into consideration. I appreciate her attorney or her insurance, person saying there's not a liability issue, but there is a liability issue. It is city-owned property. Just like anything else, we always take a calculated risk when we allow, business people to operate their businesses on public property, and that's part of the consideration we've taken in, in doing the temporary regulations. And one of the things we've been working on coming up with a permanent solution. So right now, businesses, restaurants can put it on their own private property with pretty much very little restriction. But when it gets into the public space, we have to account for ADA. We can't allow ADA requirements to be, restricted. And there are concerns about going in front of neighboring businesses with regards to liability, responsibility for cleaning up, what happens if the relationship deteriorates. Right now, we do allow two restaurants that are side by side to operate one big dining area, but the concept is kind of like, what is downtown? How do we envision this to look like? And that is the next phase that was part of the original resolution that we've been working on with regards to the outdoor dining.
So the sidewalks are owned by the city.
Correct.
Basically.
Yeah.
And so they're really an agreement between a property owner next to another property owner, really is an agreement about city space, correct? Because it's our sidewalk.
Well, an agreement to say, hey, you can put the tables and chairs is all well and good, but we have to look at it from an accessibility space and a fairness concept for, this person's allowed to have 3 buildings in front that they're allowed to do it and whatnot. But their agreement is really irrelevant to the legal concerns, the liability concerns, the maintenance concerns, the cleanup concerns that we have as a city, and that's some of the stuff that we're working on right now to try to provide something more than just the emergency relief.
So are there examples of the cities that you've looked at where tables were put in front of the building that was not a restaurant, and that they work something out like that in any of these communities you've been talking to?
There are what's very interesting about it, that's a great question. Most cities have a very similar process to ours. Since ours was, temporary in nature and in response to COVID, ours was, scaled back far more than the cities we looked at. But they're basically kind of the same format where you're required to get a permit and you are also required to be only in front of your space, except for if there's a shared restaurant space. And, there's a multitude of concerns about expanding beyond the space directly in front of the property. So there are very few cities we've seen when it's not a restaurant and a restaurant together where they're allowed to have either a common dining space or an expansion of a dining space in front of a retail space.
So when we talk about future plans, look at something permanent, is that going to be something also looked at the time?
Absolutely. It's something we've been discussing. I mean, really, to be honest with you, Alderman Ott, when we were working on this as staff, we were like, hey, this is a really good idea. and we wrote the resolution with the idea that we need to try to come up with something that's a little bit more permanent to put in place. And it's been part of that. I mean, we wanted to put the contiguous restaurant space dining area in there, even though a lot of cities didn't have that, just so we could kind of build off that concept. So we are coming up with some conceptual ideas that we're meeting with WDA to discuss, that whether we have common spaces with responsibility for management by some business that support it, to, you know, furniture purchased by the city and leased out to WDA or other ideas. We're just kind of putting it all into a barrel, and we're going to kind of work through those to see what is already in place and what can we grow, and what is kind of something more novel that we have to come up with to address some of these concerns.
Let me ask Terry, do we have a time frame and we think we'll have a recommendation back?
Well, we have a meeting scheduled with WDA this Thursday.
Okay.
So I'm sure that we will have that discussion, hopefully agree on at least a proposal. And then I'm sure that WDA will need to take it to their membership for discussion. So I would hope within a month or so that we have a proposal put together.
Okay.
That would be a goal. Whether or not we can meet that will depend on how quickly the WDA, you know, can move on their end with their membership as well.
But the point is, it's not on the back burner. It's
No,
something we're actively
absolutely
working
not.
on.
We
Okay.
have the meeting scheduled with the WDA board on Thursday morning.
Maria, I think you kind of got cut off a little bit there. Are you?
I'm still trying to understand it.
Okay, that was about to be my point. If you did understand
Some of it.
what Mr. Gravel was saying about the reasoning behind us saying, you know, this is not a good time for you to try to do this with your restaurant, that we are trying to work this out, and we do need some time to try to figure something out for you that is a good solution for everyone.
I have a question. What two restaurants here are sharing a common space? I would like to know which two they are.
I'm not aware of any in downtown that share a common space,
Didn't you just say?
but, you know, when we did this common space doesn't just apply to downtown. I mean, these temporary resolutions were created for both, one was for private property, so people could use parking spaces and parking lots that are their private, you know, that are their private property, and also public spaces at Applebee's, for example, if there's a public space that they could utilize. So, you know, conceptually, I'm not aware of any downtown, but it was something that, hey, if this were to happen, we want to at least have the option in place to allow that to happen, because they're both dining, and it's something that would allow, you know, they're consistent uses to have that in place.
Okay, well, I just want to say that I have traveled in the last couple of weeks to every town and every city small that has a main street, and it is very different than ours. And I'm not, nothing against Warrenton. I love Warrenton. I chose this over St. Charles because I figured it was going to grow, and I figured we could work together to bring more people and more life here. Nothing against the Warrenton Downtown Association. I'm totally different when it comes to doing things, okay? I wanted this for my customer. If you're working on it, great. I hope it continues. I'll see. As far as,
And I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's fine.
But you have like 3 or 4 issues. I want to see
No,
if
I
you
know.
address one, get Chris, and then let's.
and I
move on.
appreciate that. I'm just saying, as far as I'm concerned with this, and being able to do my events, like you said, I had a couple of issues with my barbecue, whatever. That was just for a free 2-hour event. It was cut at the knees. Fine, I don't care. I'm not worried so much about those, because honestly, if I can't do them here, trust, I can go to other towns and do them, and my customers will go there. Not that I'm moving. I'm not moving. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not leaving my restaurant. I'm not leaving Warrenton. I could continue, unless you want me to leave. I'm going to continue working. But as far as all the events that I have planned outside the Warrenton Downtown Association, which I plan and I want to do on my own, I don't have to do them here, is all I'm saying. I could just leave that one table up front, continue my business, not worry about anybody else in Warrenton. You know, I'm concerned about the other businesses. This is not about me, guys, okay? Everybody likes to say, oh, it's about you. No, it's not. I'm fine. It's not about me. I'm worried about everybody else that had to go through this COVID shutdown. That's hard enough to come back from that. Okay, I stayed open. I fought through it. Everybody here, and if they tell you they're not in survival mode, I'm sorry, they are. Okay, I know they are. I speak to everybody. Okay, but some of them I get along with, some of them don't. It's not my issue. But I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm addressing all of you because I care about Warrenton, I care about the people in Warrenton, I care about my customers, but I want to see Warrenton grow. Do I want it to be a New York City? No, but I would like to see it where we have not just people in my restaurant, not just people at H&H, and it's everywhere, up and down Main Street, talking, sitting, having a good time. Like, go on my YouTube channel. I got a YouTube channel. I videotaped, downtown St. Charles the other day. That's all I want, and that's all I'm saying. Whether you guys approve it or not, that's where I stand, and I want you to know where I stand. Because I don't want any rumors flying around that I'm doing this and I'm doing that. This is just how I feel.
Well, and Maria, I do want to address one thing. I wanted, just so the board has some clarification. You did approach the city about doing a special event, some type of barbecue in front of your building.
Yes.
And I know we tried to look at any way we could do it. In fact, I believe, the city offered you free use of the parking lot for your event. And I know it wasn't an ideal location, but I want to make sure it's clear because you said you couldn't do it in a parking lot. Why? That was your choice. We were trying to figure out, because you do have a limited frontage and a limited space, and that's part of the resolution as well. We realized we can't guarantee every business downtown a certain amount of frontage. We're not taking retail into account here right now, and that was a concern that was part of staff's concern in writing the resolution. But when you did approach the city about doing your project, we did try to work with different opportunities, because of the limitation of the material you're building, and you wanted to have a grill out front and whatnot with that limited space,
Okay, so what's the difference between me wanting in one of the parking spots out front when it's not busy, okay, versus when we have all these festivals? What's the difference? That they can cook in front of my building, and so it's not combustible then?
So when they do the festivals, and you do not have to go through WDA to do this. I want to make this clear. I think this was made clear before. If you want to have a festival, you can request a permit to do it. You do not need WDA support to do it. So if you wanted to do, some type of food festival or something like that, like anybody else, you can submit a request to close the streets, which requires the city to notify the other business owners with regards to closing the streets and whatnot. When you came originally about the festival, we did look at the parking stalls. Unfortunately, with the angled parking, there were safety concerns without having the street shut down because of the way cars have to back up onto the road. And, we did not want anybody to be at risk in doing that. That's why the parking lot that is, I think it's behind the dentist's office, we offered that up, or any of the other city lots or parks. We said, hey, can we do it here? We support the idea. It's a great idea, but we just couldn't make it work safety-wise without shutting the street down, which if you want to shut the street down and have a festival, you are more than entitled to put that request in, and as long as you meet the ordinance requirements, you can do a festival. You just can't do it in that limited space right in front of your building the way you originally proposed. And I just, to my point to the board is, we did try to work out some alternatives to support the local business.
Okay, real quick, nobody told me that I could do it in the park. They told me that I could do it in the parking lot, and Neil, you told me that. You never told me a park behind the dentist's office, which to me was, first of all, there's a drainage issue there that looks nasty, and it's baking the sun, and that's it. I wasn't going to bring my customers there. So I was never told about the park. I did think about the park after when I wrote my email. I said, if they don't let us do that, we'll just do it at the park, and I'll have all my customers come over there. So yeah, I already thought that, but just to put it on record that nobody told me or requested, hey, let's do it at one of the parks, because we do have some beautiful parks that I think would be great. And that's all I got to say about that.
I may have misspoke. I know that we originally thought the parking lot would work based on the concept you presented, and I think you said that's too far away from your customers to walk for the restaurant or something along those lines. Maybe the park option was not communicated, because I think the idea was you wanted it in vicinity to your business, and that's what we were trying to find a solution for you.
No, what I said was the parking lot was ugly, to be exact. That was just that was my comment. But no, okay, as long as you're working on it, that's fine. And thank you for letting me know about the festival thing. That's something that I'm definitely going to consider. So, with that said, can I go to my next thing? Okay, the water issue. Now, I have a really big problem. First of all, I want to apologize because I said that you guys did not post it. You know, you didn't post it. Well, you did. You put it in the paper. But me and a lot of other people, we don't read the paper. You know, you put it on Facebook, you put it on my website. I'm going to be there. Nothing personal. I love your paper. But I'm saying as far as, look at his face. As far as what the city's doing, I don't look at that paper for that. I look at the front page of the paper and that's it. You know that. You know, it's like I'm not going to go through everything to find stuff. So everybody has said they don't look at the paper. That's just what they've told me. But so I apologize for saying that you didn't, because you did. But I would love to see it on Facebook, on your website, way ahead of time, because you chose a date to bring this when we were voting. So in the midst of me actually going to vote, I couldn't be here. I couldn't be on a Zoom meeting, and you know, you can't be at two places at once. Now I get it. I understand. You need to raise it because you need to fix the sewer. You need more pipes. You got subdivisions coming in. As far as I'm concerned, subdivisions go to the builder. Charge the builder for it. Don't charge us. We're coming out of an epidemic. We're coming down. Now, I stayed open. A lot of places closed. These guys are struggling, and now on top of that, you're going to raise their water bill? And have you seen my water bill? Terry, I'm sure you have. My water bill is enormous, and it keeps growing. It started at $100. Now it's almost $300. You're going to go up on that. I'm paying more for water than I am my electric and my air conditioner, or my electric and my heat this winter. Okay, so that's why I have an issue with the increase. You know, you do what you're going to do as far as that goes, but I just wanted my voice heard as far as a small business who uses a lot of water, that I have an issue with that, because again, you're going to be higher than Ameren for me. And I don't think that's fair. And anybody else who is struggled to staying alive right now, to keeping customer, because we all have to get creative right now. You have no idea how creative we have to be to keep getting our customers in, okay? But we're doing it. And now you want to raise the water bill, and I just think that's not right. And that's just my opinion.
So let me.
Question for you. Is your address for your water usage 115 East Boothsley?
Yeah, sweetie.
Okay. Because there's only one water account
Yes.
for both the upper and lower.
Yes,
that
but
we
nobody
have.
uses water except me. And H&H uses a toilet. I'm not really worried about their toilet.
So some of the
1 meter,
raises,
yeah.
some of the raises were a bond issue that we passed to do the improvements that we needed to, the major improvements we needed to. And that is something we locked in on a bond issue for an increase of so much per year. We have not increased over what we committed to, but we have maintained that increase that we committed to with the bond issues.
How many increases have there been in the last 5 years?
I think one per
There's
year,
been
maybe.
a 4% increase over the last 3 years for sure, because that was part of the bond
Right.
issue what we locked in.
Right, and when we passed the bond issues, we informed the voters that this was part of the bond issue to pay off the debt, that there would be continuous increases to help do the infrastructure work.
But ain't you also going higher on commercial than you are residential
I don't believe so.
The
think it
percentage
should
is
be-
the same.
It should still be 4%.
for both commercial and
across the board?
I mean, if your water usage went from 100 to 300, there might be another underlying issue because
No,
it's a
it
4%
really,
increase.
it really is the amount of water I use, because you got to remember when I started, I wasn't as busy when I started. And
But our
opened.
increase hasn't even kicked in yet. I don't think it's there until
No,
August.
I know that, but I'm just saying that when it kicks in, it's going to be higher. But when I started, I just opened the restaurant and we were doing busy, but okay. Now we have tripled, and we have gotten so much. My dishes are constantly going, so I got more dishes to wash than I ever have before.
I have a question for you. A 4% increase projected. Have you projected how much it's going to cost you extra? That 4%?
I know I have not done that. To be honest, I don't know how to do that. I can ask my accountant about that, but I don't know. But I know an increase is an increase, and right now, with everybody being in the survival mode, I just think it's going to hurt people. And that, again, it is is what it is. If you're gonna go up, there's nothing I can do about it. And I didn't come here to fight it. I really didn't. I came here to voice my opinion because I was not able to come on the day that we were voting and all that stuff. So I'm not here to fight it. I'm just here to give you my my opinion for what it's worth because I know how it's gonna affect me.
I agree. You should always voice your opinion on it. I also want to let you know, we did vote on that, and that was an increase that we did take to the voters, and it was voted in. It's not something I'm trying to shove you, I just want you to know.
No, that's fine. And that's why I'm here. Like I said, it's gonna happen. I know that there's a reason. I don't know all the logistics. I don't follow it. But I wanted my voice heard as far as that goes. As far as a business owner, how I feel about it. But other than that, I don't have any other questions because he answered me the last question. Then now I could do my own festivals, so I don't have to go through the Downtown Association. And nothing against them. I think they've done a fantastic job. I do. I'm just more of a pusher than I am I got just bigger ideas, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. But I thank you for your time, and I do thank you for the temporary emergency seating, whatever it was.
Is there any other questions you have for Maria?
And I mean, at your restaurant, I appreciate you being in the community.
Thank you.
And a lot of people say positive things, so, I know there's issues, but we certainly hope you feel as a business owner, you're welcome to the community. We appreciate you being here. That's all I can say.
I do feel welcome. I just feel sometimes that things are not approved or thought about from the business owner's point of view. That's the only thing. I feel like it's not that we're being neglected, but a lot of people don't speak up. And I said in one of my videos, there's a lot of rumors going around. Well, I said, look, if you have a problem, go talk to him. Go talk to him. Go talk to Alderman. Go talk to anybody. Because why continue these rumors? If you have an issue, it's not going to get taken care of unless you talk to somebody. And if it doesn't, that's okay. You know what? Just go above their head or whatever if you really have that much of an issue. I personally don't have an issue with any one of you, okay? I don't. I love you all. You're all great. But I just have to speak my mind, and I hope you understand that when it comes to my rights or what's best for my restaurant, I need, for my customers more so than me, for my customers, I need to be, there. And for the community, what's best for the community. The community means a lot to me, and I hope you guys know that by everything that I've tried to do in this community, I didn't just shut down. I tried to keep open so we could keep people in business.
Well, I think you were more than generous during that time as well. You
Thank
tried
you.
to reach out to people and do as much as you could in the community. It was well seen and well respected.
I appreciate that.
With any issue, and I know you're reasonable with it because we've talked on many occasions, sometimes it is a hard split. Sometimes we have to do things that isn't always going to be the most favorable thing or decision that we have to make. That's why we do discuss it on times up here, and that's why I kind of started off with the thing. I know we've gotten some criticism about sometimes we're too fluid. Sometimes it seems like we're making decisions behind closed doors, which we're not. We don't do that because at any time, any of those emails or text messages from anyone can be subpoenaed, and we all know that. We go to class to understand that. So there isn't any of that going on.
And you and I have talked about that in the past where I said it's not going to always be I'm not going to be happy with the city. You're not going to be happy with anything I bring up. But as long as there are communications, that's what's important. I'm not going to talk about you behind your back. As a matter of fact, you watch some of my videos. I praise you all the time as a mayor and as a sheriff. I do. All of you. Especially you, her. I think she's amazing. But, I don't have an issue with the city. My issue with the city is just that I want my voice heard. At least consider it because it's not for me. It's for Warrenton. It's to improve downtown Warrenton, not just for my customers, but for every business here, and hopefully to get more business. That's really what I'm all about.
I've received compliments from people from Winsville and friends that I've had for a long time that came into town, not to visit me. That's a little depressing, but actually to visit your restaurant. So they gave high praise, loved it. And absolutely have given you nothing but good praise.
Thank you. Actually, I'm going to be doing some events down in Wentzville, too, that they asked me to do. So I'm excited about that.
Maria, we need to get you out of the hole in the wall and into a larger restaurant on Main Street.
Good luck, because I cannot...
If there's anything I can do to help further that effort, I think we would welcome you having a larger presence on
The only
Main
thing,
Street,
I
another
thought
building.
about going up and remodeling the upstairs, and then, you guys want the stairs down. And when I was in St. Charles the other day, I saw this humongous deck in the back of this building that actually went down. I thought, how cool was that? But that requires buying an easement from, the pawn shop, which we have talked about. So, but I don't know. I do need a bigger space somehow. But if you find one, let me know, but I'm leaving Main Street, because I was offered a spot, I think I told you, away from Main Street, and I declined it just because I like being on Main Street.
Well, thank you for coming in this evening, Maria.
Thank you.
We
Thank you for hearing me
appreciate
out. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Marie.
it.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Thank
I'll give you
you.
a little different compliment. You are a powerful woman with big ideas. I love it. Some I don't always get to see, and I can't see the envisionment that you do, but you've always brought your ideas to me and talked to them. I appreciate
And
it.
again, I'm going to bring my ideas to you. Don't get mad at me. Don't just say, okay, she's crazy again, but I just want this to better our town. I don't want to make it where it's Wentzville 3 times over. I don't. I like the small field. But I think that we just need it for the businesses that are existing here. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Congratulations again. Thank you.
So I think the resolve out of that is we are looking into certain things. We're working with council on at least 2 of the issues.
Yeah.
The water one I know unfortunately is probably one we probably won't be able to overcome. But the other 2 issues, we'll stay in contact with you and be able to tell you what's going on as it unfolds. So we'll stay in communications.
Terry and Neil about the parks or whatever. I want to go from there.
Great.
If I do an event, do I go to you, or do I, if I want to shut down or if I don't do a festival? or
There's
something,
an
not
application.
This year, but if I do,
In
do
the
I go to
future.
them, or is there an application?
There's an application process, and I believe it's online that they can get the applications. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right,
So,
thank you.
and I've never tried to get an application, so I'm not going to tell you how navigable it is on our website, but it is on the website.
Okay, well, I thank everybody.
Thank you. Right, so next issue on the agenda would be the liquor by the drink liquor license for Blue Anchor Coffee and Bistro located at 209 East Boonslick Road. Are there any questions on that? I'll entertain a motion to approve the liquor by the drink liquor license for Blue Anchor Coffee and Bistro located at 209 East Boonslick.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Dyer, second by Alderman Schultz. Roll call vote.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Alderman Crump?
Yes.
Alderman Dyer?
Yes.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Next will be the discussion of future city reopening recommendations. And I believe there's a piece of paper for everybody. Terry,
Yes, you
gonna-
should have at your desk this evening a summary of what we've done thus far with reopening phase 2. And then also the listing of those things that were city recommendations for the businesses, specific types of businesses at phase 1. So the question this evening is for the board to determine during this phase 2, are there things that you still want to recommend? Do we want to just set the recommendations aside? So we need to be able to say that in whatever we're going to recommend if we are anything moving forward. But for information for you and the public, there are some things that we've done to reopen city components. City Hall is back to regular hours and staffing. We were doing alternating schedules, but we're now back to everyone being here for regular hours. We are utilizing temperature checks, social distancing, and face masks for all employees in an attempt to try to keep everyone healthy. Meetings with outside parties, we are limiting with social distancing and mask and using Zoom where it's applicable. As far as the parks, basketball and tennis courts have been open. Disc golf has been open the entire time. Restrooms at all of the park facilities will be reopened starting June 22nd, next Monday. Pavilion rentals will open starting on Monday with a liability waiver, so that if someone feels they contracted it at a function being held there, the city will not be responsible from a liability perspective. And then the playgrounds will remain closed for some period of time. We'll look at those again at the end of June, but because there is no ability whatsoever to sanitize or disinfect playground facilities with children climbing all over, we feel like that will be one of the last things that we will consider for reopening. But everything else at the park setting is reopened at this point, or will be reopening next week. As far as the athletic complex, camp and adult leagues will be reopening next Monday, June 22nd. There's going to be some camp settings out there done by TSM, and also perhaps by an outside party coming in to do some camps. So hopefully those who were involved with leagues and that league being canceled will at least have something to work on their skills throughout the summer. And then for fall, starting in August, baseball, softball, t-ball, adult softball, and soccer will be working and opening out there on the fields again with TSM for those youth leagues and adult league. And there will be liability waivers associated with registering those youth or adults for those specific league play. The Aquatic Center will be reopening for further abilities than just the fitness. And I think we have Lisa on the phone. Lisa, are you with us?
I am.
Will you share with the board what we're doing as far as further opening with the Aquatic Center, please?
Sure. Starting next week, we are going to open the outdoor pool. We will continue to have it for members only from 6 until 12. We'll have fitness available both indoors and outdoors, so that'll open up 2 more lap lanes and give more area for people to do their own thing. We will also start offering a water fitness class on Mondays and Wednesday evenings from 6 to 6:45 with a maximum capacity of 10 people. So we're making phone calls this week to let people know that that's happening, and it'll be on Facebook. And then we are going to try and move to a reservation system for recreation swim starting Monday. We'll offer recreation swim for member to register online between the hours of 12 and 6, and then they can bring guests with them for a charge of $4. So only members can make the registration, but they can bring guests that are not members to the pool. And the reservations will be for an hour-and-a-half period of time, with giving us a half hour in between to clean and disinfect after each group. And we'll look at a maximum capacity of 20 people. So if there's a member that only wants to bring 6 people, then another member can bring their family or friends until we hit the capacity of 20. And then beginning the week of July 6th, we will start offering swim lessons on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays in the evenings and Saturday mornings. Anybody have any questions?
Do you envision a time that we'll get away from members only, so that anybody from the general public who's not a member can use a daily pass, I guess?
Yeah, what we talked about was at least initially starting with members, because, they've been holding these memberships for quite some time. But once we see what the usage actually is, we talked about when we met yesterday, initially seeing what our usage is, and then if it appears that members are not utilizing all that time, then we will open that up to the outside. But we feel like we owe it to our members to give them at least the first opportunity to utilize their memberships that they've been holding for quite some time now. Anything else related to Aquatic Center? Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
And then the remainder of this is really those things that were initially listed, just for your information and consideration, to determine if there are recommendations that you want to put out to all of these different business entities as we move forward in phase 2.
I think the two important things that we need to keep in place, the social distancing and wearing masks. I think that's a given as far as deterring the virus as much as possible. Other than that, what you've got here looks good.
So are you saying that the future recommendations to local businesses from the city would be to observe social distancing and wear masks when appropriate?
I don't think it hurts to say that.
The recommendation is just that, a recommendation.
Are we still holding the restaurants and to like a limit of 4 people at a table? Or is that lifted now?
It's lifted.
All of that was changed when the governor went to phase 2 and basically opened everything up. This was really following the governor's recommendations for the 10, no groups of more than 10 originally, and 4 people at a table. So now that he's lifted that, then I can't imagine we would continue with that, but that is part of what was initially recommended. So if everyone's in agreement, then what I would recommend is that we again to our list, because we have the list of local businesses that we've been communicating with throughout this, that we send out another communication, just as we did the first time, and say that the governor has lifted in phase 2 all of those things that originally he had in place. However, the city recommends that you continue to observe social distancing and utilize masks when it is appropriate, and leave it at that.
I don't know that, I mean, if the governor's not, I know the governor's spoken about social distancing. I think, I'm in mixed views on putting out that we are recommending social distancing to our restaurants. If they're opening up the state, I think we stay right at what the governor's recommending, and that's it.
Well, but that's what we're doing, right?
Isn't
What it is? As far as phase 2, I mean, guys, I got phone calls, I don't know if you guys did, but I got phone calls just under what we recommended as being the gospel and that we were enforcing it. Because even though we may have said it was recommendations, they took it as such.
Well, I thought we made that pretty clear.
Well, I think we did too.
If anybody listened to our board meetings, that these were recommendations,
And not mandates.
No, we didn't mandate any of this, and I still don't think, I mean, our local stores still have all the signage and everything about social distancing. I'm sorry, I don't feel like saying we recommend the use of masks and social distancing.
Some of that, Cheryl,
I don't have a problem with
some
that.
of that has to do with, like, if it's a corporation, I'll use Applebee's as an example.
Yeah.
Not all the states have opened, so they're running their business as they have to accommodate the other states who haven't come along yet to open all the way up.
Right.
So that's why you'll still see some of these businesses do that. I mean, even the one I work for, that's what they're running by, is until everybody is on the same page, they're going to run with whoever has the strictest recommendations. That's what they're going to continue through their whole chain at this time.
But that's why I say I don't think making a recommendation that we do this is a problem.
I mean, as a city, we can say, hey, we lift all of our bans because the governor did. And if you're a private business owner, yes, you can do whatever you want. But again, if it's that chain, they're going to do what their corporate office is telling them
Yes.
to do,
Yes.
so. And if we're gonna follow what the governor's saying, if he says lift it all, then that's the word I would put out, is lift it and go.
But the governor is still recommending social distancing
Yes.
remain in place.
Right.
I mean, there's no question in every one of his daily updates and every call that we're on with him, he stresses the fact that the virus is still there and social distancing is still important to stop the spread. So we wouldn't be doing anything more or less than what the governor is doing.
Just get in behind him and, yeah.
Any other comments? So I'll entertain a motion to follow the governor's recommendations and put them out as recommendations to the businesses within our community. Is that what I'm understanding? Yes, no?
Gary, you're looking at it pretty hard.
Yeah, I have no problem, just, if there's I don't get any phone calls from people regarding this, but if you're getting phone calls.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I would think the motion just saying we're asking citizens to follow the government's guideline. And, so I'd make a motion that the city's position be to notify businesses that we recommend that they follow the governor's guideline regarding the COVID issues related to social distancing.
Phase 2.
Yeah, phase 2.
Motion made by Alderman Ock, seconded by Alderman Schultz. Roll call vote.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Crump,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Next, we'll hear from City Administrator Terry Thorne.
I really don't have anything additionally for you, because we were able to talk about all of the park openings and all of that already. I think that's really good news. The ability for the Aquatic Center to start having some recreational swim, even though it's going to be limited hours, at least it's moving forward. And we'll continue to look at that as things continue to change. So fingers crossed that everything continues to decline and we're able to move into yet a phase 3 at some point. So that's good news. But other than that, I don't have anything else for you this evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, we'll hear from Director of Operations Brandy Walters.
Good evening. I have for you our monthly admin report. And we have just for a heads up, we have a couple openings here at the city, and we're doing interviews this week. So we have one in the grounds and maintenance, one in street, and we have a lady that's retiring in the finance department. So all of those, we're doing some interviews this week on that. So fingers crossed we get some good candidates out of that. I also wanted to note on our report, we've added animal control because they now have a Facebook page that they are keeping updated. I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but she's really on that and getting a lot of followers on that. Sometimes, animal lovers love that kind of stuff. So we have added that to our report this time. Does anybody have any questions?
Randy, what were some of the topics within our citizen communication that we relabeled? We had 5 incidents with residents. What kinds of things did they question or talk about this month or need help with?
Sure. We've gotten a couple that was on pothole repairs and taking care of that, as well as a couple streetlights out. Nothing really major, but all of things that we were made aware of and took care of it.
Good.
Any other questions for Brandy? All right, thank you,
All right,
Brandy.
thank you.
Thank you, Brandy.
Next, we'll hear from Finance Officer Dana Belaska. Is she via phone?
Good evening, Mayor and Board. How are you?
Good.
So for this evening, you have on the agenda a little bit later an ordinance for your approval for the 2001 budget. So a few of the highlights of the budget this year, key points would be across all funds, revenues of $13.6 million, operating expenses of $7.8 million, capital projects totaling $10.8 million. In the revenues, we include property tax at $466,000. That's pretty much the same as this current fiscal year. Sales tax, about $4.7 million, which is up about 2.63%. It was a rather conservative number with all that's going on right now. We do have Rule King in place for a full year and some additional housing in that projection. Water and sewer revenues at $4.1 million, and that does include that 4% rate increase. There is also in revenues, $1.5 million is MoDOT's share of the Highway 47 sidewalk project that'll be coming in, and then loan proceeds from MTFC related to that Highway 47 project, another $526,000 related to that, and $5.59 of projected bond proceeds related to the next phase of the treatment plant improvements for the sewers. Operating expenses also include a 3.15% increase in payroll. Again, that's just merit and other increases for personnel for the year. Last week in our work session, we had a great deal of discussion regarding capital.
Yes.
Dana, did we lose you?
Well,
She's gone. Let me make a couple comments. Maybe she'll come back on.
Did we lose everyone?
Chris, are you in?
we lost it all.
We lost it all.
I am still here. Chris
Oh,
is still
dang
here.
it.
Chris?
There's still some other people on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Just Dana.
Well, let me make a couple comments while Dana's, maybe she can come back on.
Sure.
We talked a lot about funding for the Highway 47 sidewalk project. It'd probably be helpful if, Terry, you could just kind of give the public an update as to where that's at, because it is funding in the budget.
Sure.
That might be helpful.
Currently, we are in the right-of-way acquisition phase, which we planned on at the time. We were doing the planning, seemed like a very long period of time. It was about a year. We are in the middle of that, and it is planned to continue through October of this year. Hopefully it won't take that long, which would allow the project to speed up, although it's important to note that the project can't speed up too much because MoDOT's share of the cost isn't until their new budget period as well. So those funds have to become available in order for us to do the construction piece. So planned is for right-of-way acquisition to end by October, and then the project to be bid with the start of construction in spring of 2021. Hope would be to be almost completed by the end of 2021, maybe with some small things left on the project, but for major construction to be out of the way. So once it gets under construction, it will move fairly quickly.
Dana back?
Dana, are you back?
I am. I
Okay.
apologize. Not sure what happened there, but
Continue.
yes, I heard that you were explaining the status of the Highway 47 project,
Yes.
the sidewalks. So, again, were there any other questions related to any of the capital projects or anything related to the budget?
Well, I think your summary covers the three questions I get most continually. One is what's going on at the fire department, or at the Warrenton Water Tower. We're putting a new well in, the money's there for that. I get feedback from somebody. He needs to mute their system. The other thing that people always ask me is what's going on with the old city swimming pool? And when are we gonna get tennis courts? So The report shows that we're doing engineering work, looking at new tennis courts, and we're talking about a skate park for the old swimming pool. So these are things that are going on.
Yes, they're budgeted. In fact, both of those are carryover projects. Had the COVID not hit, we would have already had the company come in and look at the old pool complex to determine if it's viable for a skate park. And we also would have had engineering look at other alternative locations for possible tennis courts. So COVID hit and those projects got delayed, but they are in this new budget and we will get those moving forward.
The only other thing I would think to say, at least to the people in my ward that live on Roosevelt, we promised sidewalks and a widened street for quite some time, and it seems like it goes on. So this new phase of the budget is basically going to be doing the engineering so that we can look at widening the streets and how the sidewalks would work in. So we made it through the stormwater phase. The next phase is engineering, which will go on this year, and then hopefully the following year we'll budget the actual project itself. So government moves slow, but this project has not dropped off the board. We're going to continue working on widening Roosevelt and doing the sidewalks there. So that's all I have.
As well as other areas in those neighborhoods over there are some engineering projects for the same types of outcomes, hopefully.
All right, thank you.
Mayor, do we need a motion to accept the new budget? Okay. Gotcha.
All right, good evening, Mayor, Board of Aldermen. You have a copy of my monthly report. Do you have any questions? For next month's agenda, we'll have Lewis Family Automotive, Cat 5 Construction, and Handicap Services. There'll be a site plan and conditional use for Lewis Family Automotive, site plan and conditional use for Cat 5 Construction, and the Handicap Service will have a site plan review next month. Well, I will, if there's no other questions, move forward to the next project. Alright, so Orange Blossoms Estates, PUD 67. Alright, so the conditional use permit was submitted on 5/1/2020. A request was filed for the approval of planned unit development located at Orange Blossom Estates 2007, North Highway 47 to be divided into two lots, PUD 67. So the applicant was requesting to separate the existing PUD 59 in order to refinance the developed section. The original Orange Blossom Estates Plan Unit Development PUD required approval to re-subdivide, so that's why they required the PUD before we could move along with the actual subdivision. The covenants from the original PUD 59 will remain in place for both lots 2A and 2B. Will also include that it shall be reflected in the deed restriction subject to approval for the City of Alderman. A motion approved or passed 8-0 with 2 absent at the June 4th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting.
So there's two ordinances that are later on this. So I guess my question to Chris, the big issue here was, we certainly want to allow them to subdivide the lots because we want them to get the best financial. Your concern was on the second plat, if it becomes under new ownership, that how would the benefits of the first area be covered by the second? So I'm looking at Bill 15/2020, and it's got a number of items in section 1. So is that where we're kind of putting those restrictions on the deed to accomplish what you were concerned about?
Well, I think that there's 2 points I think to make here. Number one, you're absolutely right, Alderman Ock, that there's a restriction in the PUD that would, essentially say that second piece parcel can't be sold or can't. It has to be under common ownership. The second thing is, and I don't know that this was communicated very effectively to the developers, but is that they need to come up with some type of deed restriction that they can't on their own volition remove. So we could actually have two different safeguards with the property being subdivided because, essentially the PUDs are identical. There's no difference. And I think it's something a little bit stronger than just a covenant that says it has to be under common ownership, something that runs with the land and is more difficult to change. But I think we can work with them on it.
So if we pass these two ordinances tonight, then there's still opportunity for what you're concerned about to take place.
Yeah, I would ask that there be the condition of the approval of the PUD that, that it has to remain under common ownership with those two projects specifically identified. And I would also ask that, a condition be added that says, a deed restriction to the, subject to the approval of the city attorney, that limits or that requires common ownership of the two lots.
So rather than get into this in depth, when we get to the ordinance, you'll make some recommendations on how we approve it, the motion made to accept it. Is that correct?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions on that? Go ahead, Neil, to the next one.
All right, so then we're going to move on to Subdivision 77. Okay, so on May 1st, an application for subdivision approval was submitted to divide a planned unit development, the PUD, at 2007 North Highway 47 into two lots. The applicant is requesting to separate the existing PUD 59 in order to refinance the developed section. The proposed subdivision will divide the plat into two lots, Lot 2A, which will be 11.34 acres, and Lot 2B, which will be 17.91 acres. If the PUD 67 is not approved, then the subdivision of the lots would not be permitted. The motion for approval passed 8-0 with 2 absent at the June 4th Planning and Zoning meeting.
Questions on that? Not seeing any. We'll move on to the next item.
Okay, next one is Creekside Apartments, Subdivision 78. A subdivision approval request was submitted on 5/1. An application for a subdivision approval was submitted to divide the plat at the North Service Road and Highway AA into 3 smaller lots. The proposed subdivision will divide the plat into 3 lots, which will later go through the rezoning process. Lot 1 is 1.03 acres, Lot 2 is 18.16 acres, and Lot 3 will be 2.50 acres. Conditions was sidewalks were to be installed or on Lot 2 or funds to be placed into the sidewalk fund. So Lot 2 has 869 feet of frontage on the North Service Road. That's 20.50 times 869, which came up to $17,814.50. The owner has submitted a plan which we can review, but he asked to put the sidewalk in between the drives so that way there is some sidewalk out there. I actually spoke with the MoDOT engineer today. And he suggested that we kept it in the right of way so that way we would not be required to get additional MoDOT approval. So they would have to approve any engineering or ADA approval. So I spoke with Eric Meninga today. So they were okay and just requested that we kept it out of MoDOT right away to make it an easy improvement.
Are there any questions on that?
Yeah, can I ask you, and I'm assuming we're talking about bill number 19 where it lists, the sewer construction, landscape planning. So, and I see all that listed that was discussed. I guess my question is, a lot of times when we were looking at subdivisions or developments, we had a layout showing us exactly what was going in where in terms of the shrubbery and trees and all that. Is that something staff is doing?
Well,
we're not doing it ourselves?
Well, we've kind of jumped ahead. So subdivision, we're just dividing the lots. Okay. Then the zoning will rezone, and then with the PUD, they've shown where they have. But another condition is that we will ask for separate plans, and we will approve separate site plan. I'm sorry, thank you, landscape. So we'll approve the landscaping.
You're right, I jumped ahead, because there was 3 issues, the subdividing the lots, changing the zoning, and then there was the PUD.
Yeah, we'll ask for individual lighting and individual landscape plan to be submitted and approved before the ordinance is approved by the city of Warrenton. But for subdivision, the ordinance required sidewalks, and that is listed in subdivision. That's why I have it listed now.
Why are we wanting to redo these into 3 lots?
I'm going to let the owner speak, Ed, or engineer.
Or both.
Hi, my name is Chris Wolf with Wonder Lake Survey and Engineering. Ed Schmelz is the owner. We're the engineering firm working with Ed. I do have a PowerPoint presentation, if I could go through that. The PowerPoint actually talks about all 3 items, the subdivision, the rezone, and then also the PUD. So I think it would probably be easier if I could just go through all 3 of them, and then you guys can ask questions of myself or Ed, if that's okay. Okay. All right, let's see if we... Okay, so we're here to talk about Creekside Apartments, the subdivision, the rezone, and the PUD. Right now, the first thing that we're talking about is the subdivision itself. The existing tract exists as one piece. We're trying to split it into 3 pieces. One of them is to make a multi-family residential development. The other 2 pieces, we do not have a exact plan in place right now, but we are planning on splitting those off for future commercial use. Lot 1 is the future commercial use of 1 acre. Lot 2 is the future multifamily development. We're looking to ultimately rezone that from M1 to R3 and do a planned unit development there. And then Lot 3 is 2.5 acres, and that will be a future commercial piece. We don't have plans for what's going to actually go on that at this point, but that's what we're looking at. Just an overview map here of where the tract's located on the outer road and AA, the entire property. Right here, you can see that this is the commercial lot here in the corner that we plan on splitting off. We have another lot 3 here that is fronted on AA, and then this is an existing tract that's not owned by the developer. And then this tract right here is the lot 2, the future residential lot that we'll be doing the PUD on.
Can I ask a question? I drove by there, it's kind of hard to So that privately owned section in there, between the splitting 1 and 3, is that currently, is there a house there?
No, there's nothing on the property right now.
There's a small little brick structure kind of.
Yeah, to the north, there's a house and
Okay,
and a
because
pond.
it was really hard
Yeah.
to get your orientation, because I think it was 608 or 68.
Yeah,
Double A would be north of that.
just to the north, yeah, that's M1 also, but there's a structure there.
Right,
So,
okay, all right.
It's where Scott's live there.
Right, okay.
It's cut off there a little bit, but this is, the first item is the subdivision, so we're basically asking to split the existing tract into 3 pieces. And that's basically based on future use and future zoning requests, kind of all at the same time. The current zoning is M1 there for that whole entire development. And that's basically what Neil was talking about. This piece right here, there is the existing house, shed, and pond, I believe, on this piece. This is our development right here, where we're asking for the rezone, subdivision plat, and PUD. There's our property limits.
And the gentleman who was talking about, he said that subdivision to the north is no longer there? Is that right? That one there, the R2?
It had been planned. The research I came up with shows that it planned. Maybe it was back in like 05 before everything had taken, but it was rezoned. So along all of that stuff. So that was rezoned, and further to the north, we showed other stuff in the comprehensive
But
that
there's
was
really,
changed
it's
to
bare
R2.
ground right now still.
That's correct, but it's zoned R2.
Rezone exhibit, the proposed zoning, as we kind of go through this, there's 3 different lots. I kind of went through that at the very beginning, but 2 commercial lots, the smaller lots, and then the future multifamily R3 rezoning for the PUD. Listing lot 2 just shows where we're at. It shows the other zonings for industrial use. Most of as you guys know, there is additional industrial use that's going on here that's outside the city limits, but a lot of the industrial use has been kind of, looks like in the southern part, south of 70, and it looks like mostly residential there to the north. With the existing zoning that we're asking for the bigger piece, you can kind of see that there is, I think Gary was asking about that R2 piece. I mean, that is zoned off the zoning map. We got R3 right here across the road. And then basically we're a lot of residential around this area. And I think this is a residential house that exists on a industrial zone tract. So it's basically being used as residential. It's just not zoned as residential. So moving on to the PUD part of things, basically this is the next step in the progress, but basically we're asking for a multifamily residential development. And some things that came up at planning and zoning was the feedback that we received from them was a sewer connection to the east, the sidewalks across the front, which Neil addressed, and then also a water line that we talked about looping, and basically the location of the multifamily. Those are things that came up, so I'll try to address those in detail as far as moving the project forward. We did modify this plan from the plan that was seen at planning and zoning. We went ahead and extended sanitary sewer to the east to potentially hook in the neighboring property to the east. From what I understand, Neil, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they have sewer right now.
That's correct.
On that property, so that this development would actually bring sewer to that property, so they would be able to tie into the city system in the future. The sidewalk, after that we met with the planning and zoning, I contacted MoDOT, and I basically came up with the same answer that Neil did, is that MoDOT does not want the sidewalk on their right of way because of the liability issues. They basically recommended that the sidewalk would stay off their right of way, and in talking with Ed, developer, and Ed can speak on this, but he'd rather construct the sidewalk where it actually makes sense on his development. So on this new PUD plan, we have 2 access points that we negotiated with MoDOT at this point, and we're planning on running a sidewalk along the frontage in between these 2 access points so that the sidewalk will actually loop in this area, and we do have sidewalks on one side of the street throughout the whole entire development. So we're trying to build as much sidewalk as we can. There's really no sidewalk in the city in the near vicinity of this. We're well to the west before we get into an existing sidewalk. So basically we're not proposing it to extend it beyond the extension of our 2 streets at this time.
Your preference is to build it as opposed to putting it in the fund.
Correct. We'd rather build it than put it in the fund just to get the use of the sidewalk for the development itself.
Okay.
Alderman Ock, this is Chris Gravel. Hey, I do have a question. So I cannot see on Zoom the revised plans, but is my understanding you're dedicating an easement line to line, or you're not building the sidewalk to the property line, or are the two entrances you negotiated, are those at the property line?
No, the 2 entrances are just the drive-through entrances. Those did not change from the original PUD, Chris. Basically,
Right. But is the sidewalk the entire frontage of your property, the entire length of it, or is it? I heard you say it was just between the 2 entrances.
it's just between the 2 entrances is what we're proposing. It does not go all the way across the entire frontage because one of the reasons is connecting to a sidewalk to the east. There's no future connections or plans, I believe, to do anything to the east as far as the sidewalk's concerned. And then to the western section, there is a large drainage ditch through there that becomes an issue to try to get a sidewalk through because of the MoDOT right-of-way.
The only thing I will say, the Planning and Zoning Commission, although I don't think they said this the other night, is they've always said, well, the sidewalks have to start somewhere. So I will just point out that the city has consistently required the frontage, the entire frontage, to have the sidewalk or an equivalent amount put into the fund, because the issue we have from a legal perspective is, then we have to pay to build it, and then, whether an easement is dedicated or not, that's something I think the board needs to consider as those 2 end pieces, not just between, because that may service the people that live in the development well, because it loops back. There's the future expansion, like the sewer, like the water, the idea that as these pieces come out, like as this piece connects another piece to sewer, that this could be a piece that could connect or begin sidewalks along that outer road. And there was a concern amongst planning and zoning for pedestrian traffic along the outer road. So I just wanted to make that point.
So, Chris, does the developer have the option of, we calculate what it would cost to run point to point for the property from one end to the other, and that could go into the fund, or he can say, I'm going to build part of this and the balance goes into the fund? Is that?
Yes.
I think that's what you're talking about, because somebody else can come in and say, well, I don't want to put it in the fund, but I don't want to extend it all the way to the sides of my property, which is what we'd be allowing here. So I'm trying to look for some middle ground where, okay, here's what goes in, but we're going to give you credit for what you're actually building. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, and yes, absolutely. We've done that before, and I would also recommend, if we do pursue that we get an easement for the future installation of the sidewalks, so we're not just getting the prospective cost in the bank. We're also not going to have land acquisition costs in the future to come back and put those sidewalks in when that project is probably eventually done.
Does that make sense what we're asking? I mean, it's because I would think we have to get the easement point to point, clearly, but then it's, I wouldn't want to build a sidewalk to the west, knowing what the ground looks like, and I understand that. So you're probably getting a little bit of a break, because if you actually had to build that, it would be very expensive, I suspect, with knowing the terrain of the land.
Well, thank you, and that's kind of what I wanted to come up and make the point of. I know, I totally agree with Chris's point. We've been in discussions with sidewalks in every project we've ever done, and 100% they have to start somewhere. You can't let this person not do them and make this person do them. They all have to connect eventually. But since we can't go through MoDOT's right away, I mean, I don't know about building a walk bridge over a significant floodway area. I mean, it's not. I know Chris said it was a drainage area. It's not a small drainage area. It's a significant floodway. So I just don't really see the point of building it, and it will never be built to the west. It won't. I mean, I'd be more than happy to give an easement through there. I could do something more to the east maybe, but I can't imagine that would ever be a bridge built over that floodway. Honestly.
That's
And what I would say, Alderman Ock, what I would say in response to that is I think that probably makes sense, and maybe we can work with our Public Works Director to see is there maybe some additional easement space if we can work something out with MoDOT to jog it back into the right-of-way, kind of like what we're doing on Highway 47 in the future, so we don't have to come back and acquire that land.
Fair enough.
Shaking his head, yes. I guess.
Yes. Sorry, afraid he's not here.
All right, so just to kind of break down the PUD a little bit, this is basically our entire PUD here with the 124 dwelling units and then an office. I let Ed kind of discuss the units here in a minute about what kind of units he's putting in completely. As far as the density of the property, the density that we're looking at is 6,379 square feet per unit. The allowable density for a development like this in a multi-family R3 is basically 2,722 units per dwelling, and right now we're talking about 16 units per acre allowed. This is where we are right here. 6.83 dwellings per acre is what we're asking for. It's more comparable to the 5 units of R2 single family than it is to the multifamily. So as far as the density allowed versus the density requested, it's a lot lower density on the order of magnitude of a third there. Back to the PUD, the total area of this lot 2 is 18.16 acres. The area that we consider to be green space is 13.09. So that's area that is not parking lots, buildings, sidewalks, all that comes out, and basically that's the area that would be grass, trees, park area. So we take out all the rooftops and all the pavement, all the sidewalk.
So when you make the calculation, that's including what's in the floodplain that you're not developing on?
Yes.
So how does that manage from on a day-to-day basis? So you're buying a piece of property, you're not being able to use it all. So it's our advantage to have you develop it, because we're going to find a lot of plain people who want to give up that space. But how is that maintained? Do you go through and cut it, or is it? I'm just kind of curious.
Right now it's heavily wooded.
Right. Okay.
So we would
just leave it as it is. Okay.
Yeah, so basically this next slide basically shows that we got 5.3 acres of trees. The one thing that was brought up earlier, and I think is on Neil's list, is the landscape plan. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was the landscape. In the zoning regulations, it talks about the screening and the planting requirements for a PUD. And with the requirements of 1 tree per 50 feet of street frontage and 1 tree per 3 dwelling units, it comes up that we need a total of 77 trees according to my calculations. But if you look at later on in your code, it says that keeping existing trees will actually offset the required trees. Existing trees saved later on in section F of your code. So basically you can get credit for saving existing trees to offset your required trees. And in this case, with a little bit of research, a acre of land will have anywhere from 40 to 200 trees. At that rate, even at the low rate of 40 trees per acre, we'd have 200 trees remaining with our 5 acres. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is that based on that part of the code, my understanding is we wouldn't have to do any additional landscaping because we're providing the landscaping requirement.
Let me stop you right there. That's untrue. This is a plan unit district. The code is guidance on that landscaping area. It is something the Board of Aldermen can require as a landscaping plan. It was something, I think the concern from planning and zoning was a landscaping plan with regards to the entrance and exit, having some landscaping in that area, but I just want to make sure the board is aware of that this is a planned district. The conditions are negotiated in a planned district. You can look at that as guidance to say, well, we can give them some credit, but you can also require, like in any PUD, any amount of additional landscaping you want. There is no standards that are set forth in this district. So I just want to make sure that that's clear, that's not completely accurate. It's correct that it's some guidance, but the concern about, I think the real concern for planning and zoning is what does the landscape look like as you drive by. They just didn't want the monolith of a bunch of buildings with all the greenery shoved to the one side.
Yeah, and speaking on that behalf, Chris, after the planning and zoning meeting, we updated the PUD plan to actually show additional tree plantings out here next to the outer road. So we did add tree plantings here, and then throughout the development, we are showing some trees up here in between these units. So we did take that into account. We are planning on adding additional trees for screening. So basically, what I was saying before about the requirements of the landscape plan, we think that is being taken care of with the trees that we're leaving, but we are going to add additional trees here in the front to try to buffer the development from any highway noise to the best that we can with our plantings of trees in this area specifically.
I know, Chris, you can't see it, but from what's on the board, it does look like, in what they have here, they address the concerns that the planning and zoning group had relative to the front. I think you got a few trees co-mingled throughout the property, probably not anywhere near the 72, which there has to be credit for other stuff. So I think they tried to address it.
Yeah, okay. And I just wanted to make sure that was clear that, this is not a set standard. It's your discretion and your legislative decision, Board of Aldermen and Mayor, as far as, do you think this is, the landscaping that you envision, and you can lower it, you can give them credit, you can say, hey, we accept this, or we want more, or we're okay with you not putting any in.
Chris, as we look at it though, as Gary said, you can't see this, but it's obvious that they have a lot of additional planting going on in their plan, and I'm a green space person. It looks to me like they've done a really good job of implementing some additional planting and things to make this development aesthetically pleasing, let's put it that way. So I think it looks good.
Okay, so one thing that was brought up at planning and zoning was some concerns about rezoning this property from industrial use to a residential use, and we tried to address that the best we can. One of the things that this property has that a lot of properties don't is this large drainage ditch through the middle, a creek side development here. This is where the name came from, Creekside development. But as far as the whole thing about usually when you go in to buy an industrial piece of ground, you're going to try to maximize that piece with the industrial use. And what we were just trying to show on this slide is that just in the floodplain part, we had 4.5 acres that are in the floodplain that cannot be developed out of the 18-acre piece. And as far as usable with topography, you actually lose 7 acres that you can see it outlined in this orange line that won't be developed basically at all. It's going to be left as the wooded and fields that are there right now currently. So out of the thing that we talked about before, 72% of this site is left no parking, no building, no sidewalks. It's left as it is with the green areas. It's going to be yard areas. It's going to be wooded areas. So that's what makes it difficult potentially for a industrial user to come in and actually use this piece versus trying to use it for a residential use. And it sets up nice for residential use in that aspect, that we do have a lot of green space that we're dedicating that would be available for the residents of the development. Basically 40% of the site is not usable. I do have some pictures of the current buildings that are in Washington, Missouri. That is Ed's development there. These are the exact units that he's going to build here as far as this 16 unit A building that we have shown on the plans. That is going to be those orange buildings right here that he has. And then the next picture we'll go through is the B buildings shown on here. This is actually shows up a little dark on the screen, but this is all brick front on this 3-bedroom. So this is basically, and Ed, you can talk about these units, but this is a unit here so that they get the floor above them. So it's a townhouse, 3-bedroom townhouse is what this building, B building is. This is at the Washington development also, newly installed playground. And then this is the leasing office that we do have shown on our plans also. This is basically going to be match up with the brick and leasing office. So that kind of covers most of it as far as everything with the PUD, the rezone, and the subdivision. Just to go through the conclusion here, we're trying to rezone 2 lots to commercial C3, rezone 1 lot to R3 for the multifamily PUD development, 124 apartment units with the office included. Playground, dog park, soccer field are all shown on the PUD plan as amenities, along with the sidewalks around the development. We're a density of 6.83 units per acre. This plan has already been submitted to the fire department and has received approval from the fire department with the street layout and the fire hydrant locations. And then 72% of the site is green space. 25% of the lot is in the flood zone. And that is the presentation. If you guys got any questions about the development that I can answer or Ed can answer?
I have one question. Of the 124 apartment units, what type or price range are you anticipate leasing those at?
Yeah, I'll let Ed answer that.
If I turn this around here. Okay, so if you look at Chris, can you go back to the overall plan?
Yeah, you want the bigger picture?
Yeah. That'll work right there, thanks. So the orange units are A units, so those are 16 unit buildings. Each of those buildings has 12 2-bedroom units and 4 1-bedroom units. The 12 2-bedroom units are 2 bed, 2 bath, and they are 1,140 square feet, and those will rent for anywhere from $8 to $850. The 1-bedroom units are 840 square feet, and they'll rent for anywhere from $650 to $700. All units will have washer dryer hookups inside the units, and this particular building will be sprinkled. Units on top of each other are required, so this building will be a sprinkle building also as well. So the B unit buildings are 2 bed, 2 bath units. Those are townhouse style units. So, they're not stacked on top of each other. They just, it's a single family attached basically. Those units will be around 850. I think I had that. I'm sorry, I had that backwards. The C unit, the pink ones are the 2-bedroom, 2-bath, I'm sorry, townhouse. The B unit is it's a 3-bed, 2.5-bath, and those are 1,644 square feet. And those also have laundry room hookups. Those will be around 1,100, 1,150 a month. The blue building is a small office. The office has just a small leasing area. It also has a laundry facility in it with 6 coin-operated washers and 6 coin-operated dryers. And it'll also have a little maintenance area for ourselves. Yes. There's basically 2 fronts to the building because we'll park people on both sides. So they do have to be in the fronts. Yeah. The townhouse styles, all the air conditioners will be in the back. And then just to make another point on this too, all these streets are privately maintained streets and sidewalks. There will be no responsibility of the city at all. No snow plowing. That'll all be on us. I believe that was another issue brought up at planning and zoning is the trash enclosures. It's kind of hard to see down there, but they are 3-sided vinyl trash enclosures.
Do you guys ever plan any type of storm shelters in any of, I'm just curious.
I never really have, no.
No? Okay, I was just curious.
I thought that listening to the comments of the public on this was kind of interesting. We'd rather have an M1 next to us than something else, the high density. But the reality is, I think you said earlier, you're probably not going to be able to sell this property as M1 because there's so much of it that can't be used. If somebody's coming in for an industrial development, they want to maximize the square footage. So to get somebody coming in who doesn't maximize the square footage as a requirement is an argument that we should change it to the R3, the planned unit. I think the other thing that was brought up a lot was people walking on the North Service Road. Well, a lot of that walking is coming not from this property into Highway 47. It's really coming from the far side of it because there's a number of trailer developments and apartment units that are even farther to the east. So doing this isn't going to create that big of an issue compared to what's going on. If we wanted to fix walking on the North Service Road like we're trying to do on 47, that's a lot bigger project, and I'm not sure if a lot of that walking isn't coming outside the city limits and it's coming from the county. So I don't know that holds a lot of weight. I mean, we're always concerned about people walking, but I don't know that this coming in there is going to create that big of an issue. The other thing I'd speak in favor of the developer, I mean, if you go out to Orange Blossom and see the quality of work, if we get the same quality of work here, we're going to have a nice unit.
Yes.
And shortage of apartments in this area is critical. A family wanted to come into the community about 6 months ago into an apartment, and it's darn right impossible to find apartments in our area. And, Barton in the planning and zoning meeting talked about how difficult that is, and if you got teachers or people coming in as startups and they want to start up an apartment, we just don't have anything to offer. So, I mean, there's all sorts of arguments to approve this thing, as it is. And again, the caveat is the work that's being done on Orange Blossom is just a great example of what you're going to get here. So, I mean, that's my argument for supporting the bills that are going to come up later.
I agree. I want to welcome you. I think it looks like an amazing development, and again,
Thank you.
I would love to see this get started.
Thank you.
When you get all of this out of the way, do you have a projected starting date and completion date?
So I currently do not own the property, so I needed to go through all the appropriate approvals and everything first. So we are set to close in late July. We'll start moving dirt immediately, and then by the end of the year we'll be building structures.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's been pretty much covered on the ZC 61 and the PUD 68, but go ahead.
Okay.
Any questions about those? Okay, there'll be bills later on the agenda. Thank you, Neil. Next, we'll hear from Maintenance and Grounds Director Brad Boozy-Cruz.
Good evening. You have my monthly report in front of you.
I think the answer is yes.
Are there any questions for Brad on his monthly report? Brad, anything you want to highlight?
No, just we're doing a lot of grass cutting, a lot of keeping up with Veterans Memorial, the interstate, all the other stuff that's been added, so.
You've been doing a good job.
Keep going.
Can I ask a question about grass cutting at Binkley Woods? You know, you're cutting the center areas, but on the outside where the path is, some of that's not cut. Is that intentional, or just you haven't got to it?
Yeah, if you look at that, that's really washing, so we've kind of let it go to seed and hopefully kind of help hold it a little better, but that northern side there is where we've been having, I guess the moles and stuff have been getting in there, and every time it rains, we keep getting more gullies, more new stuff, so we decided to kind of let it grow a little bit, so hopefully it'll kind of break the rain up and, you know, it'll help support it. Then we'll cut it this fall or later this summer, whenever it, you know, looks like it's holding, then we'll go back to normal cutting, but right now, we're just trying to hold the soil where it's at.
Okay. The other question I had from walking there, it looks like we're going to have to eventually get to doing some repaving of some of the walking trails. Is that kind of on the future agenda that you've been thinking about?
Yep, that's gonna be with that detention pond coming in off of Bruni that keeps washing our that culvert out up there on the end. We got problems with that, and then we got water coming on the same end that's coming off that hillside from those houses behind there. We've got a little problem with that we're going to have to address. But yeah, the trail is, I guess the trail's probably close to, 14 years old, so it hasn't been touched. So yeah, it's going to be we're going to have to spend a little money to take care of that.
Yeah, because it almost looks like we need to do it sooner than later, so it doesn't deteriorate to the point where it's more expensive. That's just my observation as a casual walker on the trail.
Yeah, well, there was a little problem with that. That was supposed to have been a 4-inch trail, and the majority of it's only 2 inches.
Okay.
So that's some of our problem there. So probably the best thing to do is when we go under this time is take it back out and then relay the new one at proper depth.
Any other questions for Brad? Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Building Commissioner Mike Cross.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. You have my report.
Any questions for Mike? Mike, is there anything you want to highlight?
No, sir. Construction is staying on schedule pretty well. We're right at about 40 permits done this year. This same time last year, we were at 29, so keeping a good pace.
Like to hear that. All right, thank you, Mike.
You're welcome, sir.
Next, we'll hear from Chief of Police Larry Ellard.
I have my monthly report.
Can I ask the dumb question of the night?
Go for it.
What is a marijuana milkshake? Told you it was a dumb question, but, you know,
I have no idea.
well, there you go. I'm at least honest enough to ask the question.
You know, if I had to go out on a limb, it would be a milkshake containing marijuana, some form of edible.
Oh, so it's just the concoction that somebody tried to figure out how to get a different kind of buzz. Okay. As it said, it was found in the carpet. I didn't what the, you know, sitting on the carpet. Okay.
I can look into that and get an answer for you next time.
No, that's all right. It's not something I run across.
Oh, if it just says shake, that's the.
It says marijuana shake, it doesn't say milk.
Shake is just the remnants of the.
Shake remnants inside the carpet.
Well, that's, again, there you go. Okay.
There you go. There's a big difference between milkshake and shake.
If it was milkshake, you may have an ingenious idea.
Well, I thought somebody could
You're a
go by
millionaire.
Dairy Queen and pick one of those up, you know.
The second item I have is, did my map make it up? Is, last meeting, or several meetings ago, I was asked to look into the problem with the speed limits on the South Outer Road at the Roundabouts. Anybody have a pointer?
One here, but
Used to have them here. I think COVID-19 did away with them.
Did they ever work?
Melody took them and threw them all away.
So if you take a look at the map, the area right here is parallel.
Yep, no, you're good,
Parallel with the shops at Warrenton, and it extends up here off the map a little bit to where Warrenton Steel is. Gives you an idea of the length of this. So when MoDOT made this, they set the speed limits inside the roundabouts and the approaches at 15 miles an hour, which is colored here. I don't think you can go any faster than 15 inside those, because you guys have all been through them, they're pretty tight. And going any faster than that, people have already ran into them.
Or over them.
Or over them, or on top of them.
Yes.
And also going any faster than that doesn't give you any time to look at the signs to tell you which road to turn off on. So what they've done is set these sections at 30, which means you're coming down here, you're doing 40 miles an hour, the speed limit changes to 30 here, and then at the approaches and inside the roundabouts it's 15. In order for it to not be so slow through here, they set it back to 30. So yes, the speed limit changes up and down, but starting here it goes 30, 15, 30, 15, 30, and then back up here you're back to 55. I drove through it several times with and without traffic. People were doing 35-ish, 37, 39. So it'd be my recommendation, you wouldn't want people slowing down. If you increase this to, like, let's say 40, then you'd have people doing 45-ish, and then having them slow down to 15 to go into the roundabouts. So yes, the speed limit toggles up and down in this whole section here, but it's only between 15 and 30.
So the issue, Larry, was we had people who were wanting to increase that
I've heard
speed limit, or
I've heard
was
from
that?
several. I think the request from the board was they were having people approach them saying that it was confusing. The speed limit changing up and down through there was confusing. I also heard that we set that speed limit to be confusing on purpose, to be a speed trap, which is absurd. I don't think we've even written one speeding ticket in that whole area. The only traffic enforcement we've done is up here at the stop sign. When that stop sign first went in, you had a car sit there.
There were a lot of people blowing through it, not stopping.
Because it was a new stop sign. People were used to just traveling right down the outer road.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think one
yeah,
ticket was written during that whole.
Yeah, I can understand that, but I don't know why you need to go any faster than that. I have always had a question, though, about who does actually set the speed limits in town on the city streets. Is that all done? I'm just asking, is that all done through ordinance or what? This clearly is done by MoDOT. They have issued this speed limit, but for instance, 20 miles an hour on Warrior Avenue. How did Warrior Avenue become 20 miles an hour?
And there's no barriers between the sidewalk and the road there, and that's completely filled with student traffic every day on foot.
We had a lot of conversations about that at the time that the road went into the school was there, about who's driving, how responsible they are, all those issues you just brought up, and that's kind of.
I just wondered how it got set at 20 miles an hour. That's the road I travel.
Alderperson Dyer, how essentially it happens, like you take a residential street, we have an ordinance, and Chief, I think it's 25 miles an hour, we have an ordinance that basically lays like a base layer speed limit down on residential streets of like 25 miles an hour. And then, that's what the speed is set at on all streets unless you specifically carve out that street to make it a higher or lower speed limit than that. So I know Warrior has been one that we get more complaints and more requests for traffic enforcement on Warrior than any other street in the city because of kids walking to school and, kids driving out of the high school, leaving too fast, spinning their wheels and whatnot. So I would imagine that 20 mile an hour was set maybe five clicks below because of those. It's a very high volume complaint. We do concentrated patrols over there, but you set speed limits by ordinance. You can set pretty much any speed limit by ordinance. You can set a MoDOT road by ordinance if you get MoDOT's consent to do it.
So do we need to update the ordinance to cover this stretch of road that Larry's showing us? Or is that automatically covered within what we currently have, since we're now taking it over?
We probably should adopt an ordinance when we take it over officially to set the speeds at what MoDOT recommended. And MoDOT does a pretty extensive study, so I would bet they've got the science to kind of back up these, I don't know that we are experts on roundabout speed limits.
Well, my question was, can we enforce something if we don't have an ordinance?
Yeah, because the state has already set the speed limit. We can enforce their speed limit, but we should have an ordinance. We probably should have an ordinance setting it once we accept. Well, Terry, let me ask you this. Is it just maintenance, or are they deeding us that property?
It became our property once the board approved it. Now, we don't have the agreement back from MoDOT signed yet, but it is in process.
Okay, so we probably want to set an ordinance to, set the speed limits. That's a good point, Alderman Ock.
Well, now I got 3 good points tonight and 1 stupid question. So, do they counterbalance each other or not? So, can I ask you a question about from the blue line on the service road heading back east? So not that end, but the far end?
This one?
Yeah, heading back toward Schnucks and all those. Is that a constant speed, or is that?
Right here, it goes from the 30 miles an hour back to 40.
40 the whole stretch?
Yes.
Okay.
And to answer the questions or the problem that was brought up, whereby it's confusing, the only way to unconfuse it would be to set all of this at 15, which
No, we don't want to do that.
that would
I
be
think
terrible.
what you've got there and the reasons that you have those speed limits make complete sense to me.
Yeah, me too, so.
We don't want to touch them, in other words.
Right. Leave it.
Leave it alone.
Appreciate the investigation.
Got it.
That was easy.
Anything else from me?
Nope. We're good.
Yeah, and again, compliments on how you guys handled the walk the other night. I thought you did a good job.
That's great.
Thank you.
All right, bills to ordinance. I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 12-2020 or 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Schultz, seconded by Alderman Dyer.
An ordinance to annex an unincorporated area contiguous to the city limits of Warrenton, Missouri, located north of Sunnyside Road, into the city of Warrenton, Missouri, without further action.
I'll entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 12-2020 or 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Go with, motion made by Alderman Deloy, seconded by Alderman, did you get Dyer? Dyer?
An ordinance to annex an unincorporated area contiguous to the city limits of Warrenton, Missouri, located north of Sunnyside Road into the city of Warrenton, Missouri without further action.
Roll call vote?
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Crump,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy.
Yes.
Bill passes 6-0. I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 13-2020 or 2020.
Moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderman Deloy, seconded by Alderman Schultz.
An ordinance authorizing execution of agreements between the Warren County R3 School District and the City of Warrenton, Missouri for crossing guards, security services, and resource officers.
Entertaining a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 13-2020 or 2020.
So moved. That's it.
Motion made by Alderman Miller, seconded by Alderman Schultz.
An ordinance authorizing execution of agreements between the Warren County R3 School District and the City of Warrenton, Missouri for crossing guards, security services, and resource officers.
Roll call vote?
Alderman Crump,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz.
Yes.
Bill passes 6-0. I'll entertain a motion for first reading of bill number 14-2020 or 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Dyer, seconded by Alderman Crump.
An ordinance adopting an annual budget for the fiscal year beginning on July 1st, 2020, and appropriating funds pursuant thereto.
I'll entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 14-2020 or 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Schultz, seconded by Alderman Dyer.
An ordinance adopting an annual budget for the fiscal year beginning on July 1st, 2020, and appropriating funds pursuant thereto.
Roll call vote?
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Crump.
I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 15-2020 or 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Dyer, seconded by Alderman Miller, is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
An ordinance approving the conditional use permit for Orange Blossom Estates, a proposed planned unit development with senior housing located at 2007 North Highway 47.
I'll entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 15-2020 or 2020.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderman Deloy, seconded by Alderman Crump.
An ordinance approving the conditional use permit for Orange Blossom Estates, a proposed planned unit development with senior housing located at 2007 North Highway 47.
Roll call vote?
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Crump,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer.
Yes.
Bill passes 6-0. I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 16-2020 or 2020.
Chris, is this the bill that we need to pass with conditions on it, subject to deed restrictions and common ownership?
Chris? Yes, the answer to your question is yes.
So I'd make a motion that we would approve bill number 16-2020, subject to deed restrictions and common ownership as described by city council, by the city councilor.
If you would, please, Melody, will you add that in the reading for first reading and second reading? So I'll
Sorry
entertain
about that, guys. My phone died. I had to go plug it in.
All right, so we're putting those conditions on bill number 16 to put conditions on subject to deed restrictions and common ownership. Is that what you suggested?
Yeah, that's fine.
So I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 16-2020 or 2020 with the added restrictions.
Alderman Ock made.
Okay, so. Second. Motion made by Alderman Ock, seconded by Alderman Schultz.
An ordinance accepting the subdivision plat for Orange Blossom Estates, Plat 2 by the City of Warrenton, Missouri.
I'll entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 16-2020 or 2020 with the added restrictions.
Motion. Second.
Motion made by Alderman Crump, seconded by Alderman Deloy.
An ordinance accepting the subdivision plat for Orange Blossom Estates, Plat 2 by the City of Warrenton, Missouri.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Crump,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Or bill passes 6-0. My apologies. I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 17-2020 of 2020.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman Miller, seconded by Alderman Crump.
An ordinance accepting the subdivision plat for Creekside Apartments by the City of Warrenton, Missouri.
Entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 17-2020 of 2020.
So
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Dyer, seconded by Alderman Schultz.
An ordinance accepting the subdivision plat for Creekside Apartments by the City of Warrenton, Missouri.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Crump,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller.
Yes.
Bill passes 6-0. I'll entertain a motion for first reading of bill number 18-2020 or 2020.
So moved.
Second.
One of you guys want to take it?
Let him have it.
Motion made by Alderman Schultz, seconded by Alderman Deloy.
An ordinance authorizing the rezoning of approximately 22 acres located at Highway AA and the North Service Road from M1 Light Industrial to C3 Highway Commercial and R3 High Density Residential and amending the zoning district map thereon.
I'll entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 18-2020 of 2020.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderman Miller, seconded by Alderman Crump.
An ordinance authorizing the rezoning of approximately 22 acres located at Highway AA and the North Service Road from M1 Light Industrial to C3 Highway Commercial and R3 High Density Residential and amending the zoning district map thereon.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Crump,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy.
Yes.
Bill passes 6-0. I'll entertain a motion for first reading of bill number 19-2020 of 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Dyer, seconded by Alderman Crump.
An ordinance approving the conditional use permit for Creekside Apartments, a proposed planned unit development for apartments located at North Service Road and Highway AA.
I'll entertain a motion for second reading and passage of bill number 19-2020 of 2020.
Mayor, before you proceed,
Yes.
this is the ordinance that needs to have the condition related to the sidewalk going east and west from the proposed sidewalk.
And we'll need to go back and do the first reading again with the added conditions.
Chris, are you there?
Chris?
Yeah, I'm here. You can do it you can do an amendment after the first reading's already been done. You don't have to go back and read it, but yeah, it would be to dedicate an easement, for future sidewalk extension and to the satisfaction of the public works director, and also, paying, into the sidewalk improvements on the unfinished portion of the sidewalk.
I'll entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 19-2020 or 2020 with the recommendation made by council.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Ock, seconded by Alderman Schultz.
An ordinance approving a conditional use permit for Creekside Apartments, a proposed planned unit development for apartments located at North Service Road and Highway AA.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Crump,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz.
Yes. Bill passes 6-0. So I will entertain a motion to close the regular Board of Aldermen meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Schultz, seconded by Alderman Dyer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. And we are so adjourned, folks. Thank you for hanging with us.